I will here install the latest version of my aeroflap wind deflector spoiler that deflects the air around the rear wheel well on the Fisker Ocean. I tried to make many versions of this, different materials, and this is the final version. I'm now going to install it on the right hand side of the car, and I'll show you how to get to it and how to get the old one off and how to install the new one. Over here is a little plastic fastener. All it's doing is holding this piece of fabric onto the flap that is already there. It is not attaching the flap to anything, it's actually attaching the fabric to the flap just to keep it in place. I'm going to take that out, and it takes a little bit of work. You can use a screwdriver as I'm doing here. Pair needle nose pliers could also do it, or a special tool. After you got that one out, you want to pull this fabric out like that. I'm now taking the 3 screws off. The longer one is the one underneath the car. And here's my aeroflap. The original you can just pull off just like that. So this here is my latest version of the aeroflap wind deflector. Little spoiler for the rear wheel that is directing the air flow around the wheel well to reduce drag. It's supposed to give about 5% or more in improved energy performance, or let's call it reduced drag, on most cars. This is the front, this is the rear. The way it goes on a car is in a position like this. I made the shape like this to try and reduce the, let's call it, aerodynamic load on the flap itself. I don't believe that is helping anything with regards to reducing the drag per se on the car, but it should reduce the, let's call it, flapping motion that was on the original. I noticed on my original when it broke, the day when it broke off actually, was I was passing a semi, a big truck, and we're passing it slowly, and the right hand side flap, you could hear it actually flapping back and forth violently when we were passing the front end of the truck. They caught up with us again a little bit later, and we heard the same flapping motion going on the right hand side of the car, and after we got home the right hand side was torn off. So this shape is made to both increase the strength in the whole construction, but also to reduce potential flapping going on of due to aerodynamic airflow. These holes here, these 2 holes are for mounting horizontal screws. This is a vertical screw going underneath. This one is just for holding on the fabric on the inside of the wheel well. So this one is not structural to the flap itself. These 2 are, and this little tap I have here is helping stabilize the backward movement of the flap due to the load that you, I guess, expose it to at higher airspeed. So I have now 3 screws off and 2 fasteners. The first one is from inside the wheel well, and the last one is from underneath this hole here. It's just close to the outside of the car. We need to have this one off to get this little flap, tab, whatever you call it, routed through the hole here, and it's going to be catching a piece of metal that is in here. So the little tab is going to be just on the outside of a metal. I'm going to try and a little metal bracket. There's some sheet metal in there. So we'll be installing the new flap here. The special tab that is new to my design here, this one, is gonna go in see this area here. You want to route it in here. As you can pull down on this one a little bit. This is why we took this little plastic fastener out. You want to route it in here. Behind here is some sheet metal here, and we're gonna get it past that little sheet metal. This looks like a U on this side here, and it's gonna get caught on the other side, and it would help stabilize a little bit. This is, the whole item is printed in TPU, which is a soft material. It's not brittle, and I think this one will last forever. At least that's my hope. To install it on the car, put it backwards like this, route the little tab with your finger underneath the loosened little piece of plastic trim you got there, and then you're gonna put it so it goes flush in here. This one should go flush here, and you see how this fits. It should look kind of like that when it's loosely mounted. Here goes the little tab. You can see where it's resting right over there. You want to just lift it up so it catches behind the metal. Just push it up with a finger now, and let's see what it looks like. See coming there from the flap, and now it's caught behind the sheet metal. It is pretty simple. When you put this one up, you'll feel that it gets up, resting against the metal. You will hear it too. You feel that the item from the flap here is not intruding anything. But after you get this installed, you feel that the flap is much more secure, and it will not bend backwards. So after you have it routed the right place, make sure that it looks like it's kind of flush on the inside here. Then you can start mounting screws. Start with the fastener that we took out of here. This one goes in the hole, this one goes inside this one, and it would widen it up, and that's how it's secured in place. And put a little piece inside the bigger one to begin with, just a little bit. You put this one inside the hole. You can kind of feel with your finger where the hole is, and you can push this whole trim piece, pushing on this one until you find the position where the hole in the sheet metal is kind of lined up with the plastic hole. Hold it there, give some upward pressure, and push the little pin in to secure it. And this one is flush, and my flap is already pretty secure. That is not the main item to keep it locked in place, however, it helps. So now we have the bigger screw. Put that one over here. Just finger tighten that. And then we have the two other ones. So one screw goes on the side here. It is easier when the wife is filming. Her back is not doing too good today, so I told her I'll try and do it myself. Anyhow, one screw goes there, one screw goes in here next to it. There's a close-up of the two screws. So the one you cannot see is just inside of here. You'll know where it is when you mess with it. You can definitely feel it. Well, the two screws here have not been tightened, and this one is very sturdy. You can see this little lip is made to keep dirt and debris, make it look nice, and keep stuff from getting in between our little flap and the other parts of the body panel. I still need to tighten the screw that we got vertical from the bottom into the bottom of the car. When you tighten it, that one has a longer hole like this. You can kind of see what the screw is attached on this old one. When you tighten the screw, you can kind of move this one back and forth in there. When I do it on this one, you can see how it would open the gap. So I recommend keep it at a position where it keeps this one nice and close, and then you just tighten the screw and everything will look nice. I'll do that. I'll now tighten the screw, which was this guy. It's the one that is attached to this piece of the flap. And now this one, the gap stays closed, and you actually have a very nice looking little assembly. All we have to do now is move this thick felt down. It's not tricky, but make sure you get all of it behind the plastic trim here. This tab here goes down here, and you feel that it has a little pocket where it fits snugly in. And lastly, don't forget to put this in the hole we got over here. And that hole is going into this thing. So all that one is doing is holding this heavy felt liner that is inside of the wheel well. It's just securing it to our flap. So it's not securing the flap itself, but it's securing the felt to the flap. That part is strong but flexible. So when you're putting this one through the felt and into the hole here, you might have to reach on behind with your finger and just help it so it does not move. So you can get it all the way in flush and it'll be secure. I have now gotten it all the way in. You can reach behind, put a finger up behind here, and you will feel the backside You might have to push a little bit inward on the felt to get it to the right place, but you'll feel the fastener is all the way through, and now you just have to, I guess, lock it in place with this little tab that you put inside the hole of the fastener you already have in there. Like that, and it is now secure. This is what it looks like. Nothing is protruding. It looks like it's made for the car, which it is. It is actually very sturdy, even though it is printed out of one piece of flexible material. This is not going to crack. It is UV resistant, and I think it will stay forever. I've been testing this now, this design, this model, for several months. I've tried with different materials. PETG, which is not strong enough for this. ASA should be, but it's kind of brittle and ended up breaking. I tried with carbon fiber enforced polycarbonate PC, I think it's called PC, with carbon fiber, and it was not strong enough either. But this stuff, TPU, it's a little bit of a pain to print, but it is strong and flexible, and I think that is a pretty good product.